Soon, it will have been 30 days since I have returned to Salida, Colorado. And it feels good to be back. Okay, the healing doesn't take place overnight. It takes place over a period of time. And this is actually going to be a new endeavor. You see, I have a history of telling it like it is. I have many, many websites. I have many, many YouTube channels. I'm actually quite famous on the internet for speaking about a lot of things. But for a lot of people, it's too much. And so as a result of coming to the aid of a whole lot of people over a massive amount of time, right? I've dealt with certain complications in this world and what is taking place in this world and with women and with men and with parents and with society. None of it is a surprise to me, nor what is taking place with the sun. Unfortunately, having many talents can, whether you want to hear this or not, intimidate certain people, whether they know it or not, that have something to hide. You can't actually tell somebody right away everything that you know, because it can lead to problems. It can lead to distrust. And so what I want to do here on this new channel related to this area is provide some insight. I'm going to apply my expertise. I'm going to be involved in some psychoanalysis. And so whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, whether you're a male, whether you're a female, whether you're a white or something that could be perceived as outside the box of white, I have something to share with you, because I'll tell you what I'm here to do. I'm here to tap into the positive. I'm here to tap into my sacred masculinity and also my sacred feminine nature. I'm here to become a strong human being. And as a result of being a strong human being, I'm actually really hip and sensitive when I'm around weak human beings. You see, they can put all the tattoos they want on their arms. They can have all the degrees that they want. But the truth of the matter is, there's a certain amount of people that are here in this community that have never lived with less and have never been of a certain heritage that was stigmatized. There is a lot of fakeness in this town. There are people that straight up call the cops on people if they get called out for not actually being inclusive. This town, like Portland, Oregon, where I'm from, has taught me a lot about fake people that purport to be inclusive, but they're actually using that word to sell things. And then you have the unfortunate reality, of good men being left behind that are not part of the original problem that caused the problems in the United States or in this world. And then you have the dark side of the left, which doesn't necessarily recognize the good things that other men do from other cultures or other places. And so in this place, even though you have people purporting to not be with Donald Trump, although a lot of people are, the causes and conditions that brought Trump to power are inside the hearts and minds of a lot of people that think that they are the resistance. And so when it comes to certain places in America where everybody looks the same and everybody is the same, and the only thing really ethnic is the food, and maybe a few Thai people, for example, that's not an inclusive society. There are things going on in this place that I'm in right now in which there are institutional, and you could even say dark spiritual forces at play that keep things the way that they are. And then we can talk a little bit more about that and what I mean by that. One thing that's sort of universal that we need to change is there are a lack of meetups where people speak the truth about what's really taking place in society, which you have are cliques, which you have, in many cases, are groups that might as well be cults. You see, what I'm actually talking about when it comes to the ethnocentric nature in society, you also see it in conspiracy theory. As an ethnic person that has been online, that's talked about the truth that stupid people at times have labeled conspiracy theories, it marginalizes you into this dark world where there is overt extremism, usually put there by the government and others to radicalize it. And it takes an intelligent person like me to talk to both the left and the right and the conspiracy movement about these psychological operations. The problem is they don't listen. The right-wingers think I'm a left-winger. The left-wingers think I'm a right-winger. But there's one thing in common with that society that's judging me. They're white. They're not targeted. They haven't had to move from place to place. They're not former landowners in Pagosa Springs, Colorado. I am. And so I know what it's like to talk full time about human trafficking, the plight that women are facing, have faced, and will face in a future collapsed America timeline. Modern women want nothing to do with helping me, helping the women of 2075. And that tells me everything that I need to hear. Let me tell you what I've been doing for the last 8 months of my life, which led to a fallout with a significant other or a landlord, which led to me coming here. I was helping people in a private newsletter for the last 8 months. As a psychic, talking about what's coming in Texas, these women being raped behind closed doors. And I would go with my card all throughout the Dallas area and introduce myself and tell them everything that was on my mind. How many people do you think actually showed up to the YouTube channel to actually give me a chance? Since I'm, trying to be a good man and fight human trafficking and all. How many do you think? Great, write it down. Is that your final answer? No, tell me, how many do you really think? So who do you think showed up in the end? Years later on the YouTube channel to berate me, to threaten me, to call me the enemy? The cops. And who's in the news right now for holding their family hostage in Mesquite, Texas? The cops. So I'm right. We live really in a world where criminals are becoming cops, and the cops and some women are making decent men homeless and criminals. And those are intertwined. How a woman can make a man homeless and she can have a schizophrenic breakdown, see things that aren't there, hear things that aren't there, and the system will back her up. And so the reason that I'm starting this channel is because there are deeper spiritual sides of myself that I'm going to bring out. And as I write on other platforms, that the world really is a certain way, even if you're spiritual, I get validation. When I create channels and I'm just spiritual and I don't go all the way and I show the highlights, I continue to get my education as to the real biases that people have. And people want to sit there and go, dude, take a deep breath. They love to do that. They love to gaslight me. The truth is I teach meditation. The truth is because of what I've been through, I know more about psychic self-defense than the average human being. And through what I've learned about it, I have the ability to deprogram a lot of you. And as the son of a white woman, as a person who has dated white women, as a person who has had a lot of white women as his fans, more so in the past, less now because I tell it like it is. I talk about their programming. I have the ability to help you deprogram if that's what you consent to. Okay, with some of us, there already is physical chemistry, but you have to, it's like a scene from Total Recall, you have to open your mind. And some people think it's something else. And they go that route, and with too many people, and the mind ends up imprinted with things that are rotten, with things that are violent, with things that are no good, that came from that person that they chose to lie down with. You need spirituality as a society. And as a result of a society that has made things that are wrong spiritual, pleasures of the flesh, and has made the enemy out of real living gurus around you, while this society, these people here and people elsewhere in Dallas, in Portland, they culturally appropriate the Indian yoga. And then when somebody comes amongst them to the park downtown and demonstrates actual energy and starts moving energy around down by the river and punching, their instinct is to what? Get closer or to flee. And then when you become grounded in the answer of the what is, flee, they get away from it automatically. They feel threatened by it. Then you need to do a deeper psychoanalysis as to why that is. What is the true reason why that is? And then when you go intuitive and you go deep, deep into the awareness, it isn't because somebody did something wrong. It is because there is an allergy. It is because there is something so powerful and spiritual about certain people maybe even certain heritages and bloodlines, that it literally is a kryptonite. I'm now 46, and I have this real world supernatural experience where I can go to that park downtown and everybody will leave. And I can sit here and be silent in this place, but even whispering, the voice reverberates. Because we're talking about a truth frequency. And that is why certain places are not even for me to contemplate, meditate, or write silently. Because the energy is loud. And so when you go into a lifetime where you experience people that are born naturally weak, even though they think they're strong and they think they're superior, there is like a freak out that these people that are mainstream, some call them normies, have when they're around someone who has nothing that they figure out is a genius or claims to be a genius or claims to have been persecuted because they're a genius or describe themselves as a genius. Your world right now, nor does your media, Willamette Week at the top of the list, Portland Mercury at the top of the list, because if they were to recognize me, what I represent and what I believe in stands in the face of everything that they and Portland, Oregon, and what Portland, Oregon is turning into represents and stands for. And that's the real reason why they would do a story on people that were leaders and heads of the Crips and Bloods and glamorize them in the era of BLM over everybody else, while they continue to pretend to be inclusive. And what is also the real reason why they shy away from these warnings that I have about Donald Trump? Because of their Viking nature, because of the redhead kinship, even if they don't admit it. My theories about what Trump's actually going to do, even if they purport to be against him, due to that genetic kinship, he's just a regular man who's just a jerk in their eyes. He's not actually that nefarious to the point where he would work with foreign governments and sell your ass. I'm just a conspiracy theorist. And meanwhile, while they do that, the journalists at such and such paper will culturally appropriate my warnings about what's coming for Muslims, while at the same time holding a thought in their brain that I'm not worthy of being talked to because I talked about it before it happened. Because I talked about what's coming in Plano, Richardson, and Frisco before it happens, that the governor is sending homicidal maniacs on purpose in tandem with the federal government. Call it a conspiracy, call it a psyops, call it a theory, call it whatever you want. But people like me saw this coming before certain papers did. But they're going to ignore me, edit me out of the history books, and in their mind still think certain thoughts. That's how they are a part of the same matrix system that I'm criticizing. That's how I can tell them about they live. I can tell them about the matrix. They can see that there are clips from the matrix, but they won't be able to connect the dots. So these discussions in this particular place will never go on more than 15 minutes due to both the lower vibrational frequency of this place and how they can't handle the truth frequency. It has to be done with kid gloves. And number two, this is being uploaded for YouTube. And there's no reason for me to talk to you more than 15 minutes if you're not understanding it in the first 5. When you're ready to hear me talk for hours and hours and hours and hours, you need to come to the Substack page where the meditations and the healings and the deprogramming will get deep. Deeper than your old boyfriend coming over late at night and filling you up after the nightclub. And there's one way to get filled up, and then there's a way to fill your mind. It's time to fill your mind after other things have been filled. And I mean, more than a few times. It is time to fill your body with spirituality, with large spiritual presences, not just tall, do-nothing males who happen to have a dog like you, who don't really say much. It's time for you to grow a soul. Subscribe now and leave a comment if you'd like to let me know that you are there.